President Trump is set to address CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference, in just a few hours. The president appeared to be conforming his message on guns towards the NRA's message yesterday, mirroring or parroting the NRA talking points about hardening schools. So what will he say today? Let's bring in CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Allison. Great to be with you.
Great to have you. Before we get to what you expect from the president today, we just want to talk about some of the headlines that have come out of CPAC. Let's start with Wayne LaPierre, the CEO of the NRA, because he made some eyebrow-raising comments yesterday, so let's play that for our viewers.
The elites don't care not one whit about America's school system and school children. If they truly cared, what they would do is they would protect them. For them, it's not a safety issue. It's a political issue. Their goal is to eliminate the Second Amendment and our firearms freedoms so they can eradicate all individual freedoms.
Matt, do you believe that? Do you believe that people calling for expanded background checks, quote, hate freedom and want to take away all individual freedom?
No, I actually think there's a lot of people, including these victims' families, who their heart is in the right place. They're trying to solve a problem. They're trying to prevent the next kid from being attacked or killed in a school. I think what Wayne's point is a larger point, which is for some people, the whole question of gun control feeds into this whole question of the bigger political fight the left is in versus the right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's unfortunate. I think this is a time for us to listen more. For us to try to work together. I think what the president did at the White House with these families is the right next step after a tragedy like that. I don't know where this ends up, Allison, but I think it's good that we're going to have the debate.
Mm-hmm. So why is Wayne LaPierre stoking that division?
I don't think he's stoking that division. I think he's defending the Second Amendment. People take this, it's a cherished right, chiseled in our Constitution. It's in the Bill of Rights. The Constitution would be nothing without our Bill of Rights. And I think that's an important thing for us to remember.
I understand,
People think that
I hear you, Matt, but let me just interrupt for 1 second.
It's not a law.
I get it. Everybody knows with the Second Amendment. Of course the Bill of Rights are cherished. But so why does he say that people who want some sort of measure against gun violence, quote, hate freedom and want to take away all is his word, individual freedoms? You don't think that's divisive?
I think if you understand the antecedent, it makes more sense. There are people who stoke the push for gun control because they think it's good politics. And the sad thing is, it's false hope for people. Where we have the most gun control, we have the highest crime. We're not talking about the violence. We're not talking about the simple security steps that could be taken.
It's not true. In Connecticut, after Newtown, they made all sorts of different new laws and measures, and now their crime and homicide rate went down. Okay? But the point is, Matt, I'm talking about the message. Okay? So Wayne LaPierre is your chosen speaker. So why did you
let me respond to that?
Respond to this.
You've got to let me respond to that, because I live in Washington. I live in Washington, D.C. I read those statistics in Chicago, and they have the highest incidence of gun control, and it's not controlling crime.
Because it's coming in from Indiana, where the gun control is lax. You know that, Matt. But listen,
you're blaming Indianans for the crime in Chicago. That's not fair,
Matt. You know where the guns in Chicago come from. But
they come from They come from a criminal element that has their guns, even though they might be illegal to obtain.
Okay. The larger issue is this a moment of unity or is it a moment of division? And if it's a moment of unity, why do you have Wayne LaPierre saying that people who want some measure, like the kids in Parkland and their parents, some measure of expanded background checks are trying to take away all freedom and hate freedom?
Let's get to the issue. I am for expanded background checks. Even the NRA is for expanded background checks. I want to see more money appropriated by Congress and in states across this country to make sure that every gun purchase goes through a rigorous background check, no matter how long that takes. I want to see that happen. I think there are a lot of people, even conservatives in this room at CPAC, who are willing to have the conversation about people that are prone to violence maybe because there are mental issues, maybe because there are other darker issues. They want to have that conversation. And as I said, I don't know where that ends up.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you where it's starting. I understand. We're having this conversation.
Let me just keep going.
Yeah?
Let me just keep going real fast. It's unfair to say that Wayne LaPierre shouldn't be a part of this conversation. If the leaders of the Second Amendment groups are cut away from this conversation, America can't get to a consensus. He represents millions of Americans, and the people in the room at CPAC deserve to have a chair around that table, too. We all deserve to have a chair.
Listen, nobody's saying he doesn't deserve a seat at the table. Nobody's even saying.
He said, "Why would you?"
Why the message?
I'm not going to quell his speech.
Why the message? The message is one of division, where he claims that people who are trying to solve gun violence hate freedom. I mean, that's what he said. I'm using his words. You just heard them. They hate freedom. They hate all freedom. They want to take away your individual freedom. That's not helpful.
I'm responsible for the words that come out of my mouth.
Well,
what
he's your guest.
You
invited him to CPAC, and he's your guest. And, of course, you knew his message.
You have a lot of guests on your show, too. And what I do is, Wayne is my friend. I respect Wayne LaPierre. I'm glad he's in this room, and I'm glad he's in this fight. I like people who fight for the Bill of Rights. I think the Bill of Rights are central to America being this unique experience in history. And I think it's wrong for people to say there's something hateful about defending the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, no, not defending the Bill of Rights.
Might be troublesome.
The language of saying that no, Matt, you know that. He's saying that people hate, I mean, let me just quote it, hate freedom. People who want to protect kids from this school violence, quote, hate freedom and want to take away all individual freedom. He lumped it all together. Those are his words.
Let me use my words. I believe that the people in this room think it's a very legitimate thing. First of all, they want to comfort the families. This is a terrible tragedy. If this was one of my kids or your kids, I just don't know what I would even say or think.
Of course.
So we jump right to the policy, which I understand, but I mean, we're brokenhearted as a country. We've had too much of this. We've had too much violence.
Everybody
Why aren't we talking about the dark influence in the country? And so what Wayne LaPierre is trying to say is it's unfair and it's false hope to immediately jump to the idea that a new gun control law is going to solve this, Allison. I agree. We should try to tighten some things up. But at the central focus of this, we have people who try to blow up children and to kill children in this country. It is a lurch towards violence.
Of course.
That is a deeper question than passing a law.
I understand.
I'm just,
I hear you.
Why does this keep happening?
I don't know. That's why we're having this conversation and trying to fix it. I'm just not sure that the message that some people hate freedom and want to take away all individual freedom is giving comfort to the families. But let's move on, Matt, since you and
Allison,
I are going to disagree on that. Let's move on. President Trump is going to be appearing at CPAC in just a few hours. And, you know, his message is it's a bit all over the place, so help us hone it. Does he agree?
You don't like his message either. You don't seem to like the messages from my speakers.
You didn't hear me say I didn't like his message.
Give us some credit. Okay.
Matt, you didn't hear me say I didn't like his message. I'm saying help us understand.
You said it's a bit all over the place.
Help us understand it. So does he agree with...
I'd love to.
Everything the NRA wants, or is he breaking from the NRA in terms of the raising the age minimum, the bump stocks, more on background checks? Explain.
Allison, the one thing I have to give you credit for is you ask good questions, and that is a good and fair question. And I don't know if we know the answer yet, because what's happening is we've opened up a conversation about what should be done with our gun regulations. And the president is opening up the conversation, being willing to consider a lot of options. Some of those might make people in the NRA a little nervous because they might not support it. I don't know where this ends up. All I know is I think he's of goodwill to try to get to a good solution. I think those supporters of the Second Amendment actually, they're as despondent as anyone over when people misuse a gun and use a gun to commit these terrible crimes. I think this is good for the country. I think today what the president's going to do is much like what the vice president did yesterday. I don't know if you saw his remarks, but he started off his speech just saying, you know, America is hurting, and we have to look at common sense things that can be done to try to secure our kids. I think the line in his speech that I liked the most, he said that it's just unacceptable in America that teachers and kids fear for their safety in our schools in America. We spend so much money on education in this country. It's our #1 cost. Let's protect our kids. There's got to be a way to do that.
On that, we can all agree.